As soon as she went to the bathroom, the waitress swooped in on her husband. Jackie and Tom make up a happy couple with 3 children between them. She just had their youngest kid, but things were not going smoothly for the pair. They brought the entire family out for dinner, but they did not know that the waitress was going to pull the surprise of a lifetime on them. After returning from the bathroom, Jackie witnessed something that made her see red. But what was it that made her stomach turn? You see, the waitress left something at the table the family was sitting at. Jackie wanted to avoid causing a big scene there and then, but she had to do something. She returned to the table and asked her husband for the slip of paper that the waitress gave him. When she looked at what was actually written on it, the waterworks started. Jackie Johnson Smith was a person who can tell you that being a mother is a difficult job. She was already the mother of 3, but this was the first time that something like this ever happened to her. The entire thing unfolded at a Des Moines pizza parlor. The waitress found it in her to write a note to her husband. Not only that, but she even slipped it to him while his wife was in the toilet. After reading the note, Jackie was in total shock. One thing you should know about Jackie is that she was in the US Army for a while. She was a tough woman, and you better pray that you do not get on her bad side. Apart from this, she also tried hard to be the best mother that she could possibly be. She might be a tough woman, but she ended up crying after reading what the waitress told her husband. Can you think of anything that would do this to a war hero? Even Tom was shocked to see her like that. There's something really glamorous about motherhood. Jackie is usually too exhausted to care about what she looks like. She made an effort sometimes, but her husband was the one who got all the attention. Jackie was aware that her husband was an attractive man. She also knew that this made other women look at him. Even though she tried not to let it bother her, she felt uneasy after seeing how the waitress was looking at their table. What was her deal? It was not easy for Jackie when she noticed just how much the relationship between them had changed. They had 3 kids, and she was worried that she did not have the same mental and physical capabilities. There are times when she felt uncertain and insecure about their relationship. Maybe this was the best time for her to talk about it. She can typically ignore them, but she had a reason to be worried that night. Jackie and Tom were in desperate need of a night out with each other. However, they had a newborn that made things more complicated. Instead of a date, they went to a pizza place with the children. When they got there, their youngest child started to fuss. This was why Jackie fed the little one at the table. People turned to stare at her, and this included the waitress. However, her stare was too intense. When you're a mom, you might feel like every person on the planet is judging whatever you do. This is especially true if you prefer to breastfeed your children. When you do it in public, people are going to stare. This was nothing new for Jackie since she breastfed all of their kids. She no longer got upset by the stares after doing it for a long time. She did not want to stop doing it either. However, she still felt uncomfortable when she took note of the way the waitress was staring. She was not a stranger to all the stares she got when she fed her child. It did not bother her any longer. Even though she heard the others mumbling about it, she was able to ignore them as she fed her baby. Why was the waitress staring at her so intensely anyway? Jackie could not help but feel uneasy about it. She thought that maybe it was the first time the waitress saw a woman breastfeed her child in public. After some time, Jackie had to use the toilet and walk to the bathroom. Tom got the attention of the waitress to get the bill. When his wife left the table, the waitress went to the table and gave him a note. Tom read the note, and his reaction to the content was written on his face. It was clear that he had no idea that his wife saw what was going on. How did Jackie feel after seeing this take place? Jackie thought Tom would just crumple it up and ignore whatever the waitress wanted to say. She was shocked to see him get his phone out. Could this be real? Was he really going to save her number? She already felt like Tom was no longer in love with her. Maybe he did not want a life with her and their kids anymore. The thought of this was painful to her. But what was she going to do about the situation? Jackie was completely angry. How dare this waitress swoop in on Tom as soon as she left him on his own? Of course she would be jealous. There were a lot of things to digest about the entire thing, but she wanted to see what the note said first. Maybe the worst part of this was that Tom retrieved his phone as soon as he read the note. She could not bear to think about him saving the number. Jackie returned to their table and asked to see the note. She saw that the waitress was offering Tom some kind of discount on the bill. But what did that mean? What was happening? Could this be her own brand of flirting? Jackie was understandably a bit confused. It brought up how she chose to breastfeed in a public place like the pizza joint. This had already caused a bunch of issues for them in the past. Even so, nobody had ever been this upfront with her about it. Jackie was no longer able to hold back her tears. At last, the dam broke and the waterworks started. She was shocked by the contents of the note. What would make the waitress write such a thing? Jackie continued to read the note with tears in her eyes. As they rolled down the sides of her cheeks, she simply could not stop. This was the first time she ever received a letter like this one. It was something so compelling that in the end, it ended up inspiring this mom. Jackie was emotional about what the waitress had to say to her. She decided to take to social media to share what happened to everyone. Of course, this mom knew that we all have different opinions when it comes to breastfeeding in a public place. However, she was still unprepared for the reactions of netizens. The start of the post read, "I have breastfed 3 children. I have breastfed them in countless places, both pleasant and unpleasant, discreetly and out in the open. I have gotten many looks and stares, but tonight erases any negativity I have ever received." Bodhi is the name of the waitress in our story. This has been her job for quite a while. Occasionally, she would see moms who fed their kids in public. It was hard to miss the way other people reacted to them. So many people are often filled with judgment towards something that is quite natural. But the question is why? "I ate at Fong's for the first time tonight. Having a fussy baby, I nursed him for a while in the booth and eventually left the table early as to not disrupt the restaurant. The waitress gave this receipt to my husband. I was speechless and emotional." The post went on some more. But what was on the note anyway? Bodhi does not have first-hand experience with breastfeeding, but she still got angry when she sees people judging mothers who choose to breastfeed their kids at the dinner table. "I bought one of your pizzas. Please thank your wife for breastfeeding," she wrote to show her support. But what did Jackie do to repay Bodhi? Let us just say that she did a wonderful thing. Despite this, she won't deny that she did not assume that Tom got his phone out to save the number of the waitress. She must have been very relieved to find out that Tom just wanted a photo of the note. She did the same thing after that. On Facebook, people were very supportive of both Bodhi and Jackie. The note even launched a wave of similar good deeds. Thanks to what both ladies did, people are able to talk about breastfeeding some more. If you ask us, this is a very important issue. After all, Jackie is not the only mother who's tired of getting a lot of stares just because she wants to naturally feed her child. Bodhi managed to show Jackie that there are folks who do not judge and actually support them. It is not an easy topic to discuss, but we are very happy to hear that there is some progress. Trust us, moms who breastfeed almost never get good feedback about it. This is even more true when they do it in public. Bodhi also said, "I noticed Jackie nursing and was so thrilled she did it. I tried not to stare because I didn't want to seem creepy or make her feel uncomfortable, but I felt like doing jumping jacks," she said. Well, we now know why Bodhi had been looking at Jackie like that. Let us hear what Jackie felt at the time. After dealing with people's reactions for so long, it was like the universe was giving me a pat on the back. I was too stunned to go back inside and thank the waitress. Isn't it great to hear that she returned to the restaurant so that she could thank Bodhi? She said, "Although I don't need a pat on the back for feeding my child, it sure felt amazing. It is amazing how we women can make each other feel when we empower each other." On top of that, Tom and Jackie have been able to improve their relationship after that incident at the restaurant with Bodhi. It is also worth mentioning that Jackie was able to do a lot to break the silence about such an important topic. Bodhi acted out of the kindness of her heart. We bet that she had no idea just how big of an impact her good deed would have. With the help of social media, people across the globe were also moved by it.